Hi, Ella.
Hello, Jake. Hey, everyone. Today we'll fix one of the most common English mistakes, when to use do and does correctly.
And we have 6 tricky questions to test you first. Let's see if you can spot the correct answers.
Question 1. Does he works here or does he work here?
Question 2. She don't like coffee or she doesn't like coffee.
Question 3. Do your sister work here or does your sister work here?
Question 4. My friends doesn't do their homework or my friends don't do their homework.
Question 5. He do exercise every day or he does exercise every day?
Question 6, last one. The computer do calculations or the computer does calculations.
Okay, did you make your choices?
Great! Don't worry if you weren't sure. We'll reveal and discuss all the answers as we go through today's lesson.
You'll learn exactly why each answer is correct.
Welcome to the English Speaking Show.
Let's learn together. All right, let's start by understanding do.
First, what exactly is do?
Do has 2 different jobs in English.
2 jobs?
Yes. First job, do as an action verb. It means to perform or complete something.
Like, I do my homework, the action of doing homework.
She does yoga, the action of doing yoga.
They do the dishes, the action of doing the dishes.
Right. But do has a second job as a helping verb.
What does a helping verb do?
As a helper, do doesn't show action. It helps other verbs make questions and negatives.
Like, do you like pizza? Do helps like make a question. Like is the action.
Does he work here? Does helps work make a question. Work is the action.
So in do you like pizza, do is the helper, like is the action.
And here's the interesting part. Do can do both jobs in the same sentence.
Both jobs in one sentence?
Yes. Do you do yoga? First do is the helper making the question. Second do is the action of doing yoga.
I don't do my homework. First do is in don't as the helper. Second do is the action.
Exactly. In this lesson, we'll learn both jobs.
Let's start with the rules.
Let's look at do as an action first.
As an action, do means to perform or complete.
I do my homework every day. Do is the action of completing homework.
You do great work. Do is the action of performing work.
We do exercise together. Do is the action.
They do the dishes. Do is the action.
Now, as a helper, do is used with I, you, we, they.
In questions, do you understand? Do they have time? Do we need tickets?
In negatives, I don't know. You don't understand. They don't have time.
Same word do, but as a helper, it doesn't show action.
Now, what about does?
Does is just do with an S added.
When do we use does?
With he, she, and it, we use does instead of do.
As an action, he does his homework. She does yoga. It does the job.
Does is the action of doing just for he, she, and it.
And as a helper, does he understand? Does she have time? Does it make sense?
In negatives, he doesn't know. She doesn't like it. It doesn't work.
Same pattern. Do for I, you, we, they. Does for he, she, it.
Now here's a very important rule for questions.
What is it?
After do or does in questions, always use the base verb, no S at the end.
What does that mean?
It means, do you like pizza? Like has no S, not do you likes.
Does he work here? Work has no S, not does he works.
The S is already in does. Don't add it to the verb.
One S per sentence.
Exactly. Does she play tennis? Does she plays tennis is wrong.
Base verb after do or does.
Now let's talk about negatives.
Now, for negatives, we combine do with not.
Do not becomes don't. It's a short form.
I don't know. You don't understand. We don't have time. They don't like it.
All using don't because of I, you, we, they.
And with he, she, it, we use doesn't.
Does not becomes doesn't. He doesn't know. She doesn't understand. It doesn't work.
See the pattern? I, you, we, they get don't. He, she, it get doesn't.
Now here's a cool use of do and does.
What is it?
You can use do and does to emphasize something positive.
Like when you really, really mean it.
Exactly. I do like pizza. You're saying you really like it.
She does work hard, emphasizing how hard she works.
You add do or does to show strong feeling.
They do understand. You're stressing that they really get it.
It's like putting an exclamation mark in your voice.
And another use, polite commands.
Polite commands?
Yes, do sit down. It's a polite invitation to sit.
Do come in, welcoming someone warmly.
Do be careful, showing you care about someone.
Using do makes commands sound softer and more friendly.
It's like saying please without saying it.
Very polite and very British.
Indeed.
So let's summarize quickly.
Do and does have two jobs, action verb and helping verb.
Do for I, you, we, they. Does for he, she, and it.
In questions and negatives, use base verb after do or does.
Don't for I, you, we, they. Doesn't for he, she, and it.
And does can emphasize or make polite commands.
Now you have all the knowledge to understand the quiz answers.
Let's reveal those answers. Let's start with question 1.
The question was, does he works here or does he work here?
What did you choose?
The correct answer is, does he work here?
Why not works?
Because after does in questions, you always use the base verb, no S at the end.
We taught this rule before. After do or does, base verb only.
The S is already in does. You don't add it to the verb too.
One S per sentence, remember?
So, does he work? Correct. Does he works? Wrong.
More examples. Does she like coffee? Not does she likes. Does it make sense? Not does it makes.
Always base verb after does.
This is one of the most common mistakes. People add S to both words.
Now you know, just one S in does.
Now, question 2.
The question was, she don't like coffee or she doesn't like coffee.
The correct answer is she doesn't like coffee.
Why not don't?
Because she is one person. With he, she, it, we use doesn't.
Remember the rule? I, you, we, they get don't. He, she, it get doesn't.
So I don't like coffee, correct. But she don't like coffee, wrong.
She doesn't like coffee, correct.
More examples? He doesn't know, not he don't know. It doesn't work, not it don't work.
Many people say she don't or he don't, but it's incorrect.
Always doesn't with he, she, it.
This mistake happens because don't sounds more natural to many learners.
But remember, one person, singular, use doesn't.
Now next question, question 3.
The question was, do your sister work here? Or does your sister work here?
The correct answer is, does your sister work here?
Why does? It says your sister, not she.
Because your sister is a person. That person is she, so we use does.
Think about the person behind the word. Your sister is she. It's does.
More examples. Does your brother work here? Your brother is he, so does. Does your mom cook? Your mom is she, so does.
Don't look at your, look at the person. Your sister is one person, a female person. That's she.
So, does your sister correct? Do your sister wrong?
This confuses many learners. They see your and think you, but your sister is not you. It's another person, she.
Always think, is this person he, she, or it? Then use does.
Or is it I, you, we, they? Then use do.
Question 4, the tricky one.
The question was, my friends doesn't do their homework, or my friends don't do their homework.
The correct answer is, my friends don't do their homework.
Why don't? Friends has an S at the end.
Great observation. But friends means they, multiple people, so we use don't.
Don't look at the S at the end, look at how many people.
One person is he or she, so doesn't. Many people is they, so don't.
My friend doesn't do homework, one person. My friends don't do homework, many people.
More examples. My parents don't know. They is many people. The students don't understand. They is many people.
Even though these words end in S, they're plural, so don't.
And notice something special in this sentence.
What?
My friends don't do their homework. The word do appears twice.
First do in don't as a helper, second do as the action verb.
Don't equals do helper plus not. Do their homework equals do action.
Same word, two different jobs.
This shows exactly what we taught in section 2. Do as helper and do as action.
Perfect example of both roles.
So we've revealed 4 quiz answers.
Question 1, base verb after does. Does he work, not works?
Question 2, doesn't with she. She doesn't, not she don't.
Question 3, your sister is she. Does. Think about the person.
Question 4, friends is they, so don't. Look at the number, not the S.
2 more questions left.
We'll reveal questions 5 and 6 in the next section.
Now let's look at common mistakes people make.
Mistake number 1, forgetting do in questions.
Many learners say, "You like pizza?" It sounds casual, but it's grammatically incomplete.
The proper way is, do you like pizza?
In casual conversation, people skip do, but in proper English, you need it.
You understand? Informal. Do you understand? Correct.
Always use do or does to make proper questions.
Mistake number 2, mixing present and past.
Learners sometimes say, "He does worked yesterday." Wrong.
Does is only for present time. For past, use did.
He does work, present. He did work, past.
She does exercise. Now. She did exercise yesterday.
Do and does for present, did for past.
Now let's talk about exceptions.
Exceptions.
Yes, times when you don't use do or does.
First exception, modal verbs.
Modal verbs like can, will, should, must, they don't need do or does.
You say, "Can he swim?" Never, "Does he can swim?"
Will she come? Not does she will come.
Should they go? Not, "Do they should go?"
Modals make their own questions. No do or does needed.
They're independent, they don't need help.
Second exception, the verb be.
Am, is, are, was, were.
With be, you don't use do or does.
Is he happy? Never does he is happy.
Are you ready? Not do you are ready.
Was she there? Not did she was there.
Be makes its own questions and negatives.
He isn't happy, not he doesn't is happy.
So no do or does with be.
Now let's answer question 5.
The question was, he do exercise every day or he does exercise every day?
The correct answer is he does exercise every day.
He equals does. Simple rule.
And does here is the action verb. He performs the exercise.
Both roles of does, we see it clearly here. Last question. Question 6.
The question was, the computer do calculations or the computer does calculations?
The correct answer is the computer does calculations.
Computer equals it equals does.
And objects and things use does too.
And does is the action. The computer performs calculations. Perfect. We've answered all 6 quiz questions.
Mistakes, don't forget do in questions, and don't use does for past, use did.
Exceptions, no do or does with modals like can, will.
And no do or does with the verb be.
Now let's see do and does in real conversations. We'll do a role play with 2 characters, Sarah and Mike. They're co-workers talking about their week.
Listen carefully. Count how many times you hear do and does.
And try to notice, is do or does the helper or the action verb?
Ready? Here we go.
Hey Sarah, how was your week?
Exhausting. I do so much work on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Do you work late those days?
Yes, I don't leave the office until 7.
That's tough. What does your manager say?
She doesn't mind. She says I do excellent work.
That's good. Does she give you time off for all that extra work?
Sometimes, but honestly, I don't ask for it often.
You should. Do your coworkers work as much as you?
Not really. My friend Tom does his work quickly and leaves by 5. I don't know how he does it.
Maybe he doesn't do as much as you think.
Maybe. Hey, do you do anything special on weekends?
I do. I do yoga every Saturday morning.
Really? Does it help with stress?
It does. My wife does it too. We both do it together.
That sounds great. I should do that.
You should. Do you exercise at all?
I do some walking, but I don't do much else.
Well, walking does help. My doctor says it does wonders for health.
Good to know. Well, I need to get back to work.
Me too. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, let's look at what we just heard.
Did you count how many times we used do and does?
We use them a lot, both as helpers and as actions.
Sarah said, I do so much work. Do is the action of doing work.
Then, do you work late? Do is the helper making a question.
I don't leave until 7. Don't has do as the helper.
She doesn't mind. Doesn't has does as the helper.
Does she give you time off? Does is the helper making a question.
And notice, my friend Tom does his work. Does is the action. He does the work.
I don't know how he does it. Don't is the helper. Does is the action.
Both roles appeared so many times in just one conversation.
This is how natural English sounds.
Now, let's help you build your own sentences.
We'll give you patterns. You fill in your own details.
Pattern 1, using do as an action.
The structure, I do blank every day.
I would say, I do exercise every morning.
And I would say, I do my best to learn new things every day.
Now you, what do you do every day? I do blank.
Perfect. That's your action sentence.
Pattern 2, using do as a helper in questions.
The structure, do you blank?
I would ask, do you like learning English?
And I would ask, do you exercise regularly?
Now you, ask someone a question. Do you blank?
Great, that's your helper question.
Pattern 3. Using does.
The structure, my blank does blank.
I would say, my friend does yoga every week.
And I would say, my sister does amazing artwork.
Now you. Talk about someone. My blank does blank.
Excellent. You now have 3 personal sentences, one for do as action, one for do as helper, and one for does.
These are your sentences now. Real English about your life.
Now, let's wrap everything up. So today you learned about do and does.
Do and does have 2 jobs, action verb and helping verb.
As helpers, do for I, you, we, they. Does for he, she, it.
In questions, use base verb after do or does. Do you like? Does he work?
In negatives, don't for I, you, we, they. Doesn't for he, she, it.
And we answered all 6 quiz questions.
Now you understand the rules completely.
Listen for do and does everywhere, in songs, in movies, in conversations.
You'll hear them constantly now.
And here's your challenge this week. Write 1 sentence in the comments.
Show us how you use do or does.
For example, I do exercise every morning, or my brother does yoga, or do you like learning English?
Share your sentence with us.
If this episode helped you, please subscribe to the English Speaking Show.
We create new lessons every week to help you speak English naturally and confidently.
Thank you so much for learning with us today.
You now understand do and does for real.
See you next time.
Goodbye.